Hi, Nick Osborne with Go Sports Performance. Now, we had a lot of great feedback about the concepts of the way that we lift. I want to go into a little bit of science so that you can see what am I currently doing and what should I be doing in my lifting program or sports performance program. Or if you're a parent, what your athlete should be doing. Now, we're going to talk about just two types of lifting today. One, chest press to the squat. Our entire lifting program is unique. But I want to go over just those two because I don't want to bore you with science. And if you get the concepts and like what we're doing with that, you'll love the rest of our lifting. So I'm going to demonstrate chest press in a standing position and how it differs from bench pressing and why so many athletes are training wrong in their lifting, and it's actually causing more and more shoulder pain, shoulder problems, and we're doing more damage to our athletes by feeding their ego and lifting way too heavy to try to get them stronger for their sport. So I'm going to go over the squat with the chest press, and we're going to start with the chest press. I'm going to bring one of our coaches in and have them demonstrate for us. So we're going to go over a little bit of science for two of our lifts today. One is chest press. Everybody loves chest press. That's how most people think. When I ask somebody, how much do you lift? They all talk about how much do you bench, right? But at Go Sports, we do things completely different. We know that the human body in a standing position can't press out more than 54% of its body weight. It's impossible. It's a law of the universe. So I'm going to prove that today and explain why we do what we do and how it affects the body. So Bobby, you weigh
160.
160. So we've got half his body weight, so less than 54%. You're a pretty good athlete, right?
Yes.
I mean, you look like an athlete. So what we're going to do today, and Bobby's been training our system and he's working through getting stronger, tying his body together, doing functional training. We've got half his body weight on the dual cables here. We've got a good free motion. Each stack has got 40 pounds on, so a total of 80 pounds, right?
Yes. Half
his body weight. Go ahead and grab the handles. We're going to have you do a chest press with half your body weight. Good job. Come on, get in position, feet parallel. All right, he's out and press. Can't do it, can you?
No.
And you can bench press 300 pounds?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm here to show you is in an athletic position, you can exhibit the strength that you're building in a bodybuilder, power lifter position, which is laying on the bench, pressing reps over and over. It actually has very little transition to an athletic environment. Yeah, I don't care if you're an offensive lineman and you say, well, I don't really press straight out, I kind of press straight up. First of all, pressing up, you're even weaker than pressing straight out. You don't have the strength in the shoulders that you do in the chest, because the chest combines both the chest and the shoulders. When you go up, it starts to be just shoulders and triceps. So you're even weaker. The other thing that we have a problem with is tying the entire body together. Bobby's been training in our system for a little bit, and he's still having trouble tying his core into his legs and his shoulders in an athletic environment. Now, most people will argue you still need to bench press over and over and over, and that's an antiquated way of training. We're looking for sports performance. I don't want to feed Bobby's ego by getting him to bench 400 pounds, and then still the most that he could press out would be somewhere between 80 and 85 pounds and still have trouble with that. So, Bobby, let's drop it to 70 pounds. So we're going to reduce it down to around 45%, and Bobby's been training in our system for a while, and you're going to see he can do this, but he's still going to struggle just a little bit. So Bobby, go ahead and step out. Okay, and press. It's not very smooth, is it? Good, he can lower back, and then he still has problems. You can see now he's actually doing an incline press. So, Bobby, go ahead and step back. Does that feel really tough in your shoulders?
Yes.
Okay, but it's not really that heavy.
No.
Okay, this is what we're talking about, athletic training. Go Sports knows the current science on how to train. If we are training with the proper movement types, proper training patterns, we can get the chest and the shoulder and the tricep strong enough to be able to press out, tie the core in without damaging the shoulder. Most of you will have trouble doing the weights that we've done here, but you're more than welcome to try it. In our next example, we're going to show you one arm lifting. All right, so we're back with one arm lifting. Now, one of the things that's really interesting is most people in outside systems, other than Go Sports, are doing 2 arms, 2 legs at the same time. And that makes no sense because that's not how you play your sport. Almost all sports, whether it's throwing, a strength sport like football, or even soccer, is done, you need strength at one side. And a lot of sports, it's one arm doing one thing forward and one arm doing one thing back, which is actually a rotational issue on the stomach, on the core. So what we're going to show is a very simple exercise for you to see how strong you really are and whether you're training correctly. Bobby's going to load one arm with 40 pounds. Now you can press 40 pounds with one arm, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Bobby, load up one arm with 40 pounds. Okay, now he's going to go ahead and press out for reps. Okay, so this shows you that one arm even, you're having a lot of trouble with. But let's face facts. Bobby, go ahead and step back. Why don't you lower that to 30 pounds? Most of the time, you're pressing one arm and you're standing on one leg. You're pressing, driving out, pushing to the side, and almost all of your weight's on one leg. If you're stepping forward, one arm, all the weight is on one leg. So if you're stepping and driving, it's a one leg, one arm exercise at a time. So even let's say our offensive lineman, you're pressing out, the person shifted to the right, and you're still trying to drive them with one arm, one leg. So let's go ahead and load it at 30 pounds. Come on out, and let's stand on your left leg like you're driving out. Go ahead and lift up your right leg. Go ahead and press out now. And Bobby's a strong athlete. He's been training in our system for a while, and you can see how much he's struggling. It becomes not even close to a shoulder exercise. It's a core and hip working with the shoulder. And that's the key to functional training. Powerlifting training trains your muscles to be strong very linearly, but separate. Our type of training makes you a lot more athletic. So this type of strength, standing on one arm, one leg, exhibiting strength, is completely different. Now, some people will argue the fact that, well, you're not truly doing that. And I will ask you to go look at almost every sport. It's a one leg, one arm, doing something usually contralateral, so right hand, left leg, at the same time. I don't care what sport it is. Even if it's pressing like this, I'm not doing anything with this leg. This leg is stabilizing, this arm, contralateral. So that's what we're all about, is using current science to train the body, not an ego-driven, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, bodybuilding model. And if you're stuck in that mentality, or your kids are forced to train in that mentality, you need to look somewhere else, because we're going to help the athlete save their shoulders, make them healthier, make their hips healthier. What we're going to talk about next is the squat. All right, so now we're going to cover our last lift that we're going to talk about today is the squat. We love squats at Go Sports, but you got to do some things a little bit different. So we're not even going to get into our one-legged lifting, because running is a one-legged exercise. So we do a ton of one-legged, unstable, and stable exercises, but we're just going to talk about the stable exercise that almost every place is getting wrong. High schools, junior highs, our competitors. We're not about powerlifting here. It's not what we do. Powerlifting is a great sport, but it doesn't help you to be more athletic. And I'm going to explain why a powerlifting squat is actually going to hurt an athlete's athletic ability. Because let's say that you're training for 6 months or 9 months in the off season, and you're going to do squats all that time, but you're going to do them like a power lifter. And then you're going to go play a sport, say football, baseball, soccer, or something else, and you're going to do completely different body mechanics. You're never going to be able to translate the type of strength you get from the squat into your sport if it's done wrong. So let's talk about the traditional powerlifting squat and how it's not what we do at Go Sports and why. So Bobby, get in the powerlifting position. So Bobby's got his arms wide, the bar's sitting lower on his back so he can lift as much weight as possible, legs wide so we can get maximal depth and involve as much muscle groups as possible to lift the weight. Remember, powerlifting is all about lifting the weight. Bobby's going to do his squats. He's going to bend at the hips, push his butt back, and his knees are going to barely come forward whatsoever. He's going to get down, and then he's going to come back up. So we can see this from the side. Let's do another one. That he's pitched forward, his butt's coming back, knees not coming forward, and he's going to come back up. Now let's look from the front. Is this an athletic position? Do you play your sport, toes pointing out and butts sitting back? No, we don't. So at Go Sports, we do high bar squats. So let's raise the bar back up into position. Our feet a little bit more narrow. Feet are a little bit more straight, just like we play our sports. We're on not our toes, because we don't want to put too much force in the knees, but our weight is in the mid-foot, because it makes more sense, because we don't play our sports on our heels. And we're not going to ingrain in our athletes' heads to stay in our heels. We're going to be in our mid-foot. So Bobby, let's show a nice Olympic, let's say a sports performance squat. Okay, let's see. See how his chest is upright? He comes back up. Good. The knees actually move forward and back. There's nothing wrong with that as long as they don't go past his toes. Let's get another one in. Good. Nice lordotic curve in his lower back. Very athletic, very stable. And back up. So what we want to do at Go Sports is actually train our athletes like athletes, not like a specific sport like powerlifting or Olympic lifting and say that's what you are. You're not an Olympic lifter for 9 months and then you play your sport for 3 months. You're that athlete all the time, and that's what we're here for at Go Sports. So you can see we do things completely different. I didn't even get into the one-legged lifting that we do with our athletes. I just wanted to demonstrate how simple a change in how we squat can completely change how an athlete performs in their sport, how much stronger they perform in their sport. And lifting correctly reduces injury, gains confidence, and actually makes an athlete more coordinated. Lifting incorrectly can injure an athlete directly in the lifting because we're lifting way too much. It can overuse or overstress bone, tendon, and muscle, and it can cause a lot more problems because the athlete's not truly prepared to demonstrate the type of strength that they think they can in their sport, whether it's a chest press or squat or anything else. We want to use our lifting to make an athlete stronger, more athletic, more coordinated, and more prepared for what they're actually going to do in their sport. And if you really analyze almost every sport in every position in those sports, it's a one leg or one arm, or really a contralateral one arm, one leg exercise at a time. And we've got to teach our athletes to deal with instability, deal with tying their shoulder and their hips together and their legs together through their core. And that is a unique type of training. Olympic lifting doesn't do it. Powerlifting doesn't do it. It's all about functional strength training, the way that we do at Go Sports. So, if you're interested in becoming a better athlete, or if you're a parent wanting your athlete to be better at their sport and not just stronger in the gym, then you need to see Go Sports. You need to give us a call, send us an email, or fill out one of the forms on our website for us to give you a call, contact you, and set you up with one of our orientations where we review all of this and then put the athletes through a 7 exercise evaluation to test their athleticism, test their coordination, find out what level they're at, whether they have full range of motion in the hips and the shoulders, and if they're stable enough to do some advanced training. If not, we'll get the fundamentals with them first and then make them stronger, faster, and more athletic. So again, Nick Osborne with Go Sports Performance, helping build better athletes and safer athletes.